Hello and welcome everyone to episode number 18 of our Redbox Studio Facebook Live series. And today is a special day also because it will be our final Facebook Live for this year. Because after doing 18 episodes, I'm going to take a break during this month and come back in January with even more amazing guests. So today I have with me someone who's going to talk about being a mother, being a writer, and interestingly, being a webcomic artist. So before I bring Rebecca Loke on, I would just like to briefly introduce her. I've known Rebecca for a long time now. Actually, she was my senior when we were in University Science Malaysia. And so we both studied communications. And more importantly, she has been someone that I didn't tell her this before, actually, someone that I actually looked up to. And she was the one who actually introduced me to my first job when I got out of university. So Rebecca is a mother of two, and her children are quite grown up already, except that, of course, her daughter is still in school. Her son is already working. And she has an interesting, I would say, interesting journey and career because she has always been involved in writing and publishing and doing things that are very, very creative. So when I thought of someone for today's episode, I wanted to bring on someone who is doing something that's a little unusual. So let me bring on Rebecca, and you can all say hello to her. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, everyone. Hi,
Hi.
Krista.
Hi.
Okay. Thanks for the intro. And
Would you
certainly
like to
come a long way.
intro yourself? Would you like to introduce yourself the professional way?
Okay, I'm not too sure about professional way, but I kind of like the way you put it as mother, writer,
Yeah.
and comic artist. I
Yeah.
think that has been that order for me. So being a full-time mom comes first, then the writing, and now finally this year I've ventured into being a comic artist, for the RoundTable series. Yeah.
So that's why today's event is titled "Comics First, Then Writing and Motherhood." Even it's the other way. Actually, it's supposed to be. I couldn't put motherhood first, right? So I had comics, writing, and motherhood. So before we get started, for those of you who have just joined us, welcome to the series. And I want to start by asking all of you, since you're here, I'm sure there must be some sort of interest in comics or webcomics or something to do with illustration or graphic. So for those of you here, I'm not going to ask you where you're from. I'm going to ask you, what was your favorite comic when you were growing up? Or you were still growing up? Please tell us what's your favorite comic right now too. So at least we know what kinds of comics that you like or want to read or love reading. So for me personally, I like, just being Malaysian, right? I grew up reading Lat. And I was telling Rebecca, I like Haga the Horrible. I know he's not exactly the funniest, but he's really cute sometimes. And of course, Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah. Yep, those are the classics. And actually, when I was young, I grew up reading Dino and Dandy. I'm not too sure if you remember this, but they were UK comics,
And Archie.
And Archie, yes. And of course, Peanuts,
Okay. So among all this, what's your favorite?
I would have to say it's the Peanuts. I mean, Snoopy and Gang,
Okay.
I just love
and
the
locally.
characters.
And locally?
Locally, yes. When I grew up, it's definitely Lat. But of course, now we have a lot more local comic artists. And
so you are more of like a Western kind of comics or local kind of comics these days? These days,
I'm not too sure. So I mean, I do see both, I guess.
Okay.
For the local ones, I've been following this fried rice comic by a young comic artist, Erica Ng. I love her illustrations.
Okay. So some people have actually chipped in. Okay, I'm gonna pull that. So Wai Liang says asterisk.
Yes, that's asterisk.
Yes.
And there was Tintin.
But asterisks was so expensive back in the days when
Yes.
I was growing up, right? It's like
Yeah.
so hard to get.
It's to
Thank
keep
you,
borrowing from
Riley.
someone. Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, and
Uh-huh.
another one. Gila Gila.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Gila Gila is actually, yeah. Thanks, Usha. Yeah, for
Yeah.
reminding us there's Gila Gila. Yeah, that was really good. And of course, that one is Mad lah, right? Gila Gila. The other
Yes.
equivalent is Mad.
The local version of Mad. Mhm.
Okay, and then Susan Ho says archive, LAT.
Lat.
Okay, I don't know.
Yes.
Okay,
Um.
is archive a comic, Susan? I don't know. I'm so out of
Uh,
it.
yeah. I only know Lat.
Yeah. Oh, Archie. Okay, sorry.
Archie. Okay.
She was
Okay.
asking, okay, is there a archive comic that I have never heard of? Thank you, Susan, for explaining, because otherwise I'd be like figuring out what is that. Okay, so before we get started into talking about everything about you, your journey, and everything else, let's start with what are you reading? Or what
Am
have you
I
been reading?
reading? Okay. Actually, okay, that's the time I'm showing a book.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite books. It's by Jen Elliott.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
We'll be really careful.
this is book 8. Yeah.
Okay.
So there is I'm not too sure. I think 11 books of this. So
Okay.
I really like her comics. This is about family as well. Yeah, but
Okay.
hers is different in a sense. It has a storyline, so you can see the characters growing or the issues that they're facing. Whereas my comics, I think, is more like just a one-page thing
Okay.
because that's pretty much what I can focus on at the moment. Yeah,
Understand perfectly. Since you're a mother, right? You
yeah,
got too many things on your plate.
yeah.
Okay, so is that all, or you want to show something else?
Okay, maybe for those who are into web comics or thinking of starting one, this is my reference, the Webcomics Handbook. Okay, can you see?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I use this as a guide to help me because I wasn't too sure about this whole web comic thing because I was in publishing, so I would know how it goes on print, but yeah, to put it on the website and all the social media platforms has been a big challenge for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So usually I will encourage all my guests to share a book or two, because I believe that we all have our favorite books, right? And then we can all learn from a new book or a new author. So I'm going to share this book with all of you. Let's see.
All right.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, where's my camera?
Ah,
Okay,
yes.
it's called Small is the New Big by Seth
Ah.
Godin, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Okay.
so this is the book that you can see from the side here. There's a lot of
Yeah.
stickies. So it actually means that I have read and bookmark a lot of the interesting stuff. And this is a good book if you are into marketing and
All
you
right.
want to learn some unusual ways to market. And
Okay.
he is, I mean, of course, I don't like the word guru, but he really is the small business guru. So he has a lot of ideas. And if all of you who are listening or watching right now want to know more about him, just Google Seth Godin and you will land on his blog or website. And every day without fail, he will write a short but meaningful blog post that talks about a current marketing issue or a current marketing idea that he has. So even if you don't buy his book, you can learn plenty from him. So that's our
That's
book recommendations for the day before we start. And now let's get into the most important questions. Rebecca, how did you get started into webcomics? How do
all
you
right.
get that? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, although the web comic came out this year,
Mm.
actually the journey for me has been very long. I think it started 6 years ago. So
Okay.
the idea of RoundTable came about 6 years ago, but I didn't do any drawing then. It was just an idea. I did more of jotting. Yeah. So it's like jotting down the ideas, the characters, and writing down the storyline. Because at that point, yeah, you have to be honest, I'm not a professional artist, so I have no professional training. So creating characters was a huge challenge. Yeah. So what I did was after I jotted down all these ideas, is I started reading, getting a lot of books from library, just reading online about drawing cartoon characters. So like sort of look at the different styles and see which one I can actually draw consistently. And yeah, I think to be able to draw the same character consistently is the biggest challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, if not, they might get distorted, and I don't know, in case my readers don't even recognize them in the next page. Okay, so that process was pretty slow. So like 3 years ago, I only started drawing my first character. Maybe I can put up share a
Yeah.
screen for
Yeah.
those who are not familiar with the characters.
For those who don't know, you can follow her on IG at RoundTable, right?
Yeah, RoundTable Webcomic.
RoundTable Webcomic. And of course, at her website, RebeccaLoke.com. Okay, let me just add this to the stream.
Okay, so you can see for the characters of RoundTable are based on these 6 characters. So the first character I drew was the grandma. So I think that's the easiest for me. I don't know, it just came to my thought one day, and yeah, it was very fast. I just sketched it out, and it fit. I didn't have to change much. So I think later.
So for those who don't know, right, the grandma is the one on
yeah, you can see the
right
small
side.
specks. Yeah, the second from the right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the grandma. And
Does the grandma have a name?
yeah, she's called Esther.
Okay.
Yeah, but in the character, she's mostly referred to as either Ma by the son or Mama by the grandchildren. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sticking to Cantonese for this
And
series.
as you can see, Rebecca is Cantonese, right? Because she
Yeah.
is from Ipoh.
Okay, yep.
So that's why
Yeah.
it's all very Cantonese like.
Yeah, so I shout out to all my friends from Ipoh. I do see them there. Yeah. So the next character I drew was the father. I think that's very easy for you all to see. He's the man holding the drumstick. Yeah.
The chicken drumstick, right?
Yep. So it's easy to draw the father as well, because he kind of have certain resemblance to the mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, that's where my journey kind of stopped. And because I didn't know how to draw the mother and the 3 kids. Yeah, that was a big challenge. So I left it. Yeah, I just left it. It was only recently, in the last 2 years, I managed to come up with the mom, the lady next to the father, and you can see the elder son, second from left, the daughter.
The one holding the
Yeah,
smartphone.
yep. And the daughter is the one holding the book, and the youngest son is the one, the far right, holding a toy car. Yeah. So those came later, like 2 years ago, but only this year I finalized them. Like, it's like I told myself, stop changing. Okay. If not, they will never.
Is it because you're a perfectionist?
I don't know. I wasn't too sure how it appeals to people, and yeah, I don't know, it just didn't feel comfortable or satisfied with it. But luckily this year, okay, I just decided go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So, but I do know that even though you say you worked on this for some time, and this is actually the result of what you're working on, maybe we can take a step back to way before this even started.
Okay. How way back?
How way back? Let's start with the book that you published, right? The one about your son. So
okay, maybe I will.
This is even more interesting, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, because like I said, it's not about comics today, it's also about writing. And she started off by writing a book about her son. So I will not spoil it for you. I'll wait for her to tell her story. Through again, another illustration or illustrated illustration. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you can see that's the book I wrote about my son. Okay, that's when he was, I think, 9 or 10 years old. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think you can see that. So yeah, I started with this book, which is a chapter book, children's chapter book for young readers. So it's short, so that's why I could actually complete it. And I was lucky that the idea came to me quite quickly, and I could just like finish it up within a week. Yeah, so I was quite lucky in that sense. So, but for this first book, I didn't illustrate it because the publisher prefers or her own illustrator. But I can show you that some of what I was working on.
Okay.
Okay, I will stop sharing this one, and I'm gonna share another. Okay, I have yeah. This is what I was working on, and yeah, so that's my version.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
for those of you watching, don't you think that this version is cuter? I mean, put a comment there. If you say, yeah, if you think this is cuter, please put a yes or something like that. Yeah, I think, Rebecca, I think your illustration does look better. And it's not because I'm your friend. It's not because
Okay.
I know you, but I just feel that it's a lot more, like, in a way, fun.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So um, that's
But tell us also about how that book came about. Because I think that a lot of people who saw the cover will be kind of literally scratching their head and wondering
yes.
why a book about your son, but it's also about alopecia, right? Did I
Yep.
pronounce it correctly? Yes.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. Because Ethan has this condition called alopecia universalis. So it was a bit tough when he was growing up and as a young child, especially in school, because when you don't have any hair, that's when the kids tend to stare or make fun of you. Yeah, so the book itself is not about alopecia, which I think was when you look at the cover, a lot of people tend to think the book was about alopecia, like it's a medical book. So, but whereas the book is actually just a fun, light reading, fiction story, yeah, and it's kind of like what is summarized in my sketch here. It's about James. He lost his hair to alopecia, and then his great grandma came to give him a secret remedy to help his hair grow. Okay, but however, he has this uncle you can see on the right, which is Uncle Kong, and he has other plans for that remedy because he is also having hair loss. Okay,
Okay. Our different sort,
so
right?
yes, yeah. So that's so the challenge of having this book was to share about um, alopecia, but not in a medical way. Yeah, I do have a bit of write up about the condition at the back of the book, such as a Q&A on alopecia. Yeah, but throughout it's like, yeah, you can see, yeah,
A lot of
yeah.
illustration.
Yeah, there's illustrations. There's different types of illustration. Though that's the Uncle Kong in this book.
Oh, I think your Uncle Kong looks better lah. Honestly, I mean, Uncle Kong looks funnier.
Okay, maybe I can share also how the book kind of helped. I mean, Ethan was very happy with it, yeah, because he gets to be famous, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? If you have a mother who's a writer and your mother writes about you, and then you start to be a mini celebrity, right? Especially your mother writes about you. Like, your mother doesn't write about you. That is
Yeah.
okay.
So you can see he was featured in Star on the section for school kids. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So this was featured yeah, when he was, I think, 10 years old. Something
How
like
old is
that. Yeah.
Ethan now, by the way?
He's 21.
Okay. So that was 11 years
Yeah.
ago.
Uh-huh. Yep. So you can see it was more to create an awareness about alopecia, about looking different in school, but and how the kids instead of making fun of other kids who are different, to like be aware, yeah, and to have a more positive or better approach instead of just making fun of people or shunning them out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So actually,
So
that was how you started, right? By
yeah,
writing and
that's right.
illustrating.
Uh-huh.
So the webcomic is just, I would say, second or third generation kind of
Okay, the web
work. Or,
comic is more of yeah, I mean, for me, writing is always the first love. Yeah,
yeah.
but somehow it's kind of always gets interrupted
Mm,
because I mean, I would love to write a novel, but I think the time commitment is like huge, and I I can't seem to work on it in, like, just an hour a day or half an hour a day, and be disciplined to do it long term. So that's why I came up with comics, because with comics I think I can work in a shorter time frame and get to tell my stories. Yeah. So for me, Roundtable is a way to tell stories about family, about food, and I mean, it's not just that, but it also goes towards the culture, the family's beliefs, and all the everyday stories that happens. Yeah.
okay.
So
Why name the characters the Wong family?
okay, I don't know. It's just um, I just wanted an easy name for people to remember, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is that process of doing it? Because I'm sure a lot of people who are watching or listening right now will be thinking, okay, what does it take to actually create a
Okay.
comic? Like, doesn't matter if it's on the web or not on the web. It's a comic. What does it take?
All
What's your
right.
book process?
So okay, my process is actually just I'm traditional. So
Mm,
I just use a pencil and paper. Then I
mm,
just sketch it out.
mm.
And after I've sketched, I would use a marker or pen to ink it out. But of course, when I ink it, I'll be using like a light box, something like this. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
It's, I mean, now this is very easy to get. You can just get a light box, and
Okay.
I just trace over it. And once that's done, I will just scan it and do the touch up on Photoshop. Yeah.
Mm.
So you can see that I'm not very good in Photoshop, so that's why you can see the colors of the comic is just quite limited to certain spots, as you can see.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
maybe I
actually,
can
yeah,
share.
you can share that so they can actually see what you're trying to say. But the other thing is
Okay.
also, I asked Rebecca this. I say that, hmm, is there a special secret formula that why you color certain panels and you don't color certain panels? So she said that it's not a secret formula or some sort of webcomic artist criteria. It's more like depending on what? Depending on your time, right? Also, like
Yeah, that's
your time to
right.
tolerate. Okay, so at
Yeah.
this extreme. Okay.
So yeah, you can see this one of the this the second step already, where I've already inked it and scanned.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so you can see this the raw version.
Mm,
All right, and then now I will show the colored version.
okay.
Okay, which you can now see, and a bit slow with this sharing thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so now you can see the colored. So after I add the colors using Photoshop, and then
Mm,
after that I will put it into InDesign, because my original plan was to actually have a comic book. Yeah.
mm,
But this year I decided to go with the web comic, because I figured if I were to go with a book, I would probably sit on it for another few years. and and yeah, just putting it live and on the web, I think I will slowly collect it, and hopefully have a book at the end. Yeah,
okay.
maybe that's a better approach. Yeah.
Okay. So you
So I would
update
use
every Wednesday,
yes,
fresh
I do.
fresh comic every Wednesday.
Yeah.
So for
And
those of
I
you who
do
like,
plan, sorry,
mm,
and I do
yeah,
plan to have like some bonus ones,
mm,
to upload bonus comics during certain Chinese festivals. So do watch out for, I think the next one coming, that's the winter solstice. Is it Dong?
yeah,
Uh,
冬季.
yeah. So I have one plan for that. It's not on, it doesn't fall on Wednesday, but I will do a special upload for that, as well as
Ah,
for Christmas and
oh,
New Year.
New Year.
Yeah. Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
you will have special bonus comics lah, right?
Yeah. So instead of just Wednesday.
Is there a plan for you to get into these days? A lot of people are very excited with Patreon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I
any plans for Patreon?
I am not too sure on that yet, so I need to read up more on all those. Yeah. So I'm just going, but I'm comfortable with at the moment because I think for many years I've been a social media hermit.
Mm.
So yeah, one of the responses I got from my friends is like, when I launched the webcomic, and it's like, what, you're on FB, or what, you're on IG? Yeah, they're just shocked.
It's never too late to be on social,
Okay.
especially these days because everyone is. I mean, they are on social anyway, so I think that's the
Mhm.
better way for you to promote or talk about your work. Yeah, so
Yeah.
never too late. So
Okay.
for those of you who just joined us who are watching this, don't forget to go to RebeccaLoke.com or follow her on Instagram at RoundTable Webcomic.
Yeah.
With an S or without S? I don't know.
Uh, yeah. No S. No.
No S. That's a RoundTable
Yeah.
Webcomic. So just find
Yeah.
her there and catch up with her comics that updates every Wednesday. So when you update your
Mm-hmm.
comic every Wednesday, does it mean you also update your IG every Wednesday?
Yes, I do. And
Okay.
now FB. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So now she also has an FB account, so go and follow her there.
Yeah.
So
So
let's
maybe
talk about yeah.
sorry, I'd just like to add on why I
Mm,
put it on the web is
yeah.
because of the book that I already had a website.
Mm,
So this year I decided, since I'm not doing much with my book, so I've decided to change it to the comics and make it a
yeah.
web comic. So I
Okay.
must say thanks to Krista and Nick, because
Uh,
they made it very convenient for me. I do not know anything about designing websites either, but when I told them the idea and what I wanted, and voila, there it is.
we
Just
were
like
glad
how I
we
wanted.
are able to make it easy for you. But just to be sure also because we've had a good long working relationship. So we more or less understand each other. Lah. So
Mhm.
that's the beauty of working together well for a long time.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say was for people who are now okay, now they're a bit curious, right, about the book, Ethan's book, the
Okay.
first book. Where can they get it if they want to actually read more
Um.
about it, find out more about it? Or
All
where
right.
can they contact you to get it?
Okay. Actually, they're not on sale anymore because
Mm,
this publisher and distributor are no more carrying it. Yeah. So it's just that, yeah, I just have whatever leftover copies. So I
okay.
think if anything, if you really want, you can just message me. Then we'll arrange. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Especially for people who want to buy it for either for their kids to read or even to understand a little bit more about the medical condition.
Yeah.
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 So
Just
I
now,
think it's,
my current website does not have anything about the book or about alopecia anymore. Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's come back and talk about the characters. We
All
were talking
right.
about it halfway until we kind of went back to your past and
Okay.
now we're coming back to your present.
All right. Um, any particular character you want to talk about, or do I show the group or
Yeah,
individual?
you can show the group. You want to show the group, so at least people who are just joining us can see what the characters are like. We didn't talk
Okay.
about. Did we talk about their names just now? Did we?
I think we did talk about the grandma,
Yeah.
and
Grandma's
the
Esther.
father is yeah, and the father's called Ben. Um, okay,
Okay.
and yeah, so the mom is called Claire, and the elder son is Nick. Then there's
Hmm.
the daughter is Hannah, and the youngest boy is Jeremy.
Okay. And
Yeah.
when you are drawing this, is there any specific personality that you attach to each of these people?
All right. Yeah, I get asked that whether they are actually my family.
Yeah. I mean, in a nice way, like I'm asking you in a nice way, whether are they based on your family members or people in
uh,
your family or your relatives?
oh, actually, it's not. It's basically, when I come up with the idea of a round table, I just wanted to be like a tree generation. So I just wanted to have like so the grandma represents the elderly, and because I'm not very good at drawing, I thought I'll just manage with just grandma, and I'm very sorry I can't draw grandpa there, so it's fine. Then there's the parents. So you have the father and the mother. And I guess since it's all about food, yeah, so naturally the father would be more passionate about food. Yeah. I think it's easier to draw it that way. And then I have the mom. And then, of course, there's the three kids. And I chose them for that particular age group. Yeah. So it's not so much based on family, but because I wanted a teenage child and a preteen, and also one that's much younger, around kindergarten age. Yeah. So that way, I think it's easier to have more stories. Yeah, compared to when everyone is all adults, you know.
All the same age, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you can
Okay,
see
I want,
the family dynamics as well.
okay. I want to pull up some comments right now.
Okay. Oh, wow, that's a nice comment.
So
Thanks,
that's
Yvonne. Yeah.
Yvonne. Well done,
Mhm.
my dear friend. Totally enjoy your comic. True is truly reflecting our daily lives. Macam I am in it too.
Oh,
Which
wow.
part is it? Yvonne, is it the part where the mother? I think you're a mother. Is it? Because it's quite funny because I think I read some of it. It's like certain things the grandmother can do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
the grandmother
Mhm.
gets away with quite a lot of naughty things.
Yes, and the
Yeah,
kids will always ask,
always
it's
like,
not
how come
fair.
grandma can do it and how come I can't do it, right? Okay.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
Yvonne, which character do you resonate most with? Let us know.
Okay.
Maybe it's some other character we didn't know. Yeah, so that itself brings me to the question of, okay, where is this webcomic going? I mean, like, how do you see the future for this webcomic?
Actually, this still quite a new thing for me. Like I've said earlier, maybe I'm planning to probably print this as a book.
Okay.
But I'm still looking at the responses. So I think going on social media is good. It just I do get quicker responses. Yeah,
Okay.
instead of just printing a book and putting it on the shelf. Yeah. So so far the responses have been very encouraging. So I'd like to thank my family and friends. Yeah, it's been very affirming for me. Yeah. So probably continue this on. Yeah.
But how do you know when you reach a certain number of web comics in order to publish?
Yeah, I'm probably targeting around 120 pages. Yeah, for the
Oh, okay.
book. Yeah.
Okay. So you actually
Um,
have a target in mind, lah.
yes, the whole book is sort of planned out, but it's like to achieve 120 pages, I think I don't know how many years it will take me.
Okay.
So I decided to do this weekly,
Yeah.
and it's more of forcing myself to actually do something instead of just sitting on it again and let the years just go by. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Yvonne says, she replies, yes, I'm a mother. So she said, hopefully won't turn into a grandma any sooner. That's really cute, Yvonne. And then there's another, I think she also wrote, Susan Ho, just realized I missed out so many of the comics. Maybe I should start reading them now to do some catch up. Yeah. I think
All
it's a fun thing. I mean, when we talk about comics, I think part of whoever who's watching right now, I mean, when you think of comics, things that you read in your childhood, I think it brings back a lot of very happy and very positive memories about comics. I mean, it
Yeah,
was a
that's true.
fun time, right? It was a fun way of reading, even though we're not really reading, lah. It's just more like looking at pictures and laughing. So I think that's why people love this concept of comics. So I think you're really doing a good a good job in reviving that. And I like the concept of this Asian, round table,
Uh,
family togetherness, and does it appeal to a certain type of people, or would you say that your readers or the people who read your comics are across different age groups and all that? What do you
yeah,
see any patterns?
I think it's still early because yeah, I just started in October, so I think it's still a bit early.
Mm.
But from what I've observed, at first I was a bit worried that whether this comic only appeals to those in their 40s or just moms. Yeah. Um, yeah, because I'm a bit worried about the younger generation. Like
Yeah.
they may not find this so appealing.
Yeah.
Because nowadays you have so many interesting graphic novels and all those beautiful comics.
And the
Yeah.
anime, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So so my initial feel was yes, it was more appealing to the 40s, especially the mothers.
Mm.
But surprisingly, when I do check on the stats of the website as well as IG, I do see a lot of younger readers as well. Yeah, and
Ah,
some of their responses have been encouraging. Yeah.
okay.
So
That's actually good to know, because I
yeah,
thought it appealed to people like us, lah. Slightly older.
that's right. So anyway, I'll continue and see the next few months and see whether this continues or the trend will just narrow down to the 40s, 30s to 50s age.
Okay. Now I want
Yeah.
to ask you a little bit about what kind of skill sets do you need in order to draw comics?
All right. I think I don't just normal, just
Do you have to be
draw
really
with
good
the.
at drawing? First of all, I mean, let's put it out there, right? Those who are watching, do you think that you really need really good drawing skills or not? I don't know. I'm not.
I
I'm not a drawing sort of person. I don't
I
know.
I I think it's not necessary.
Ah,
Yeah. I mean, I don't have great drawing skills. I mean, I
mm,
can't draw sceneries or do watercolors.
mm,
But I just try and find something that works for me and works for that process of storytelling.
mm,
So I think for me, comics is just a way of telling stories, and the style or your approach is, yeah, it's pretty much your style of getting the story across. Yeah. So I feel you don't have to be like a professional artist to do a comic, but yeah. So again, you have to think about your audience and you have to see their responses as well.
mm.
Mm. Of
Do
course,
you
if
test
you,
out? Do you test out with some sketches, some initial, like you drew it and then you kind of send it out to friends or
oh
family
yes, I did.
to gauge their response towards the
Yes,
characters?
of course. My toughest critic will be my daughter.
Ah, okay. But I also know that your daughter draws, right? Takes up the
Not
mommy.
not really. I think she really draws much. Yeah, but I don't know. Hopefully, she will draw more. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you actually
So
do test out the waters lah. You kind of send it out there,
yes,
ask people to
and
have a
yeah,
look at.
yeah, I do test out. Also, special thanks to my cousin Joanne for helping me. Yeah, just to test out and see how it goes. Especially the language as well. I mean, although comics is very graphic, yeah,
Hmm,
I think words are equally important.
hmm.
Yeah, in that role of storytelling. But of course, the other thing about comics is panels. You have to work with panels, and because I actually wanted to print the book. So I actually made a few templates of all these panels of different. Maybe I can just show.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. It's
let's
always best to show
see.
because I think for most of us, we have no understanding of what it takes to actually create a comic. We just think that it just draws itself, or somebody just draws it. Ta-da! It comes out right in a newspaper or in a book.
Yeah. So
Okay.
like this is a different panel from the
Mm,
usual those with the 6 box. Yeah.
mm,
So this is one of my templates. Yeah.
okay.
So this one is easy to. I started with this. This is the first comic that I posted
Mm,
because I wanted to just introduce everyone in the family. Yeah.
mm.
And
And food.
also yes, and food. And I think this is one of the questions that most moms they do ask every day, what to cook today. Yeah, that's a challenge. Yeah.
I suppose you also have that question every day, right?
Yes, I do.
Since you're a full-time mom. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And yeah. So this is one of the templates. The
Mm,
usual is the 6 box. I think I didn't have the others much, but I think as the weeks go by, you can see different sort of templates as well.
mm,
So these different versions help to structure the storytelling as well. Yeah.
Okay. Can
So
I
I have
ask?
to.
Can I ask? Do you draw first and then fill in with something, or is it how does it? Because I know that like this, okay, what to cook today, and then the kids will chime in with pizza, Korean, but
Yeah.
the story has to be somehow in your head first, right? Or at least the
Yes.
concept of it has to be before you draw it.
Yeah, that's right. So maybe to emphasize a bit more of the in your head,
Mm.
because like I said, this process of this comics has been a long journey for me. So the initial years is just always in my head. It never get physically. It didn't materialize into this. Yeah, so most of the time it's just things that I just jot down, and I just would jot down all these moments, and I just keep them in a file or folder. So I think this year was right, so I just took out the folder, look back at all these old jottings, and then yeah, just figure out how to put the story in a way that I could draw it out as well. Yeah. So as you can see, it's mainly most of my drawings so far are focused on the faces of the characters.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not very good at drawing the full figure of a character. Yeah. So I just go with what works for me. Yeah. For my own abilities so far. Yeah. Maybe I don't know, in 5 years' time I could be much better at this and things could look much more colorful, or in a different style. Yeah.
So this is actually one of the template panels, right? I mean, you
Yep.
have this 6,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yep.
and then another type. So
Okay.
yeah, maybe you can show that so people know what we're talking about.
All
So this is
right.
this is
Here it
for the
is.
non-comic people. We don't know we don't know what goes into making a comic. So I'm just like you. I don't know what goes into making a comic. I don't know how to write.
Yeah. Writing is much easier in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While you pull it up, I'm going to pull up a comment. Lillian Young say, glad to be here. Welcome,
All
Lillian, to
right.
the show.
Hi.
I'm sure all of these are your fangirls and fanboys.
These are actually my friends. Quite a lot of them from school days. Yeah. School
Okay.
friends. Yeah. Thanks for your support. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And yeah.
So this is another form. Another.
This is the more common form that I tend to use. Yeah. So I think it's easy, and I think it appears well on the phone as well, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. It's a
So
more like
that's
longish.
Yeah, so I do not have like comic strips because I think nowadays most people tend to view on their phones. So I have to put that into consideration. So yeah, so I prefer this style, and I think it's easy and quite clear to see. Yeah, without having too many small panels. So just hmm
Okay.
So
My other question to you is how does motherhood, I'm sure because this whole comic thing is about mothers and cooking and family, right? I'm sure motherhood has provided you lots and lots of input for your comics.
yeah, I mean, I won't deny motherhood does give me a lot of input, but I think at the same time, it's also a lot of observation of family. It's like the years of having family dinners. Okay. Yeah. So some of it is also from childhood, from observing other. When we go for family gatherings or even eating out with friends. Yeah, it's just all these small observations, and I just yeah, all these just give ideas to it. Yeah.
So it's very
And
dangerous
then
eating with Rebecca.
yeah, I know I have friends who ask me, oh, will I appear in your comic next week?
Yeah. Okay, the other thing is, will there be extra characters? For instance, I know right now it's about a family, it's about the mother, father, grandma, and the 3 kids, right? But in future, will you even contemplate like adding newer characters, maybe friends of the family, or even I don't know, cousins or some
Yeah, I mean,
extras?
that would be ideal. I mean, I should have more characters, but I think I need time to work on them. So yeah, that might take another year, I think. But right now, I'll just focus on this. Yeah,
This 5 this 6 lah. They're not 5 or 6.
yeah, this six. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
so now I want to move on to something that is very personal to you. You've been working on.
okay.
So that
So,
one is a memoir.
all right. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for
Tell us about the
mentioning
memoir.
that.
Yeah, I almost forgot.
Um,
I was thinking I want to remember to talk about that.
yeah, I did put it on my website that besides the comics, I was also working on the memoir. It's actually a memoir of my journey with my father.
Okay.
So I just wanted to focus on that 1 year when he had this very rare medical condition. Okay, let me just pull this out so you can see it.
I love talking to people who are into illustration and drawing because there's so many things that they can pull up to show us all, right? Because otherwise, my normal guests will probably not have that much to show, but yours is like a little bit unusual.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is I'm showing the prologue of that memoir.
Mm.
So it's about this 1 year journey with my dad from February 22nd of 2018 to February 22nd, 2019. So this during this year, he was actually discovered he has this rare medical condition. So it's called it's MSA with what is it called okay, I'm sorry, I can't recall the exact condition name at the moment. But basically, it's about his journey because this condition that he has makes him immobile, and he has been bedridden ever since on February 22nd. So it's about his 1 year of being in bed. Yeah, and so I decided to write a memoir, but not in a form of just words. I wanted to use drawings, illustration as well. So I'm just experimenting, and I will see how it goes. So far, I did let a few people read, and the responses have been encouraging. I think my illustrations of my dad is okay. I could draw my dad all right, but I had problem drawing myself.
Oh, you're drawing yourself. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
unusual.
So yeah, I don't think that person that I'm trying to draw of myself looks like me. So I can't show you those pages yet. I'm still working on it. Okay, but I can show you an inside of okay, I'll show you the inside of the book, that format that it would be. Um,
So you're pretty much working a lot of things, even though you say you're a full-time mom.
yeah.
Yeah, full-time mom with how old is your daughter now? Teenager?
She's 15, yeah.
Yeah, she's a
Mm.
teenager. Okay, so that gives you a lot more time to work on stuff.
Uh, yeah, I guess in a way it's been, yeah, able to have more time now
Mm,
that they're slightly older. Yeah. So this is how the inside of the book looks like.
okay.
So I'm going with the words as well as a comic. So the concept of it is like, let's say if you're someone who doesn't want to read the words, you're not into reading, then I think if you follow this panel of comics at the top, you
Mm.
can more or less get the gist of the story. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So
So
it means that I don't have to read the words if I don't want to get the story.
yeah, for those who, let's say they don't have time and they just want
Yeah.
to flip through,
Yeah.
yeah, more or
Hmm.
less that's how it is. Yeah.
So you're appealing to different types of readers also in one memoir, in one book.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this format actually works because most of memoirs I've been reading are actually
Yeah.
basically just words. Yeah,
Words. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm not I can't do a whole graphic memoir.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to do that, but I think again, it's too overwhelming for me. I can't draw such great details, especially all this hospital scene and hospital equipment, and yeah, so it's easier for me to just draw certain, maybe just their faces and certain expressions.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not that whole background scene and buildings, and yeah, that's a bit
So
too.
so this okay, I do know that your memoir
Mhm.
is made up of three sections, right? Or three
Yes, correct.
different areas. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a part one, a part two, and part three, where the part one explains about my dad's discovery of this condition. Okay. And then the the part 2 is about his journey, how he had to then, after discovering this condition, what does he do? So he has to sort of get his medical treatment in Penang. So he had to uproot himself from Ipoh to Penang for during this whole time. And that's part 2. And part 3 is about the reflections that me and my dad have. So it's actually more of a Christian book, because the reflection part will be more on based on scriptures, based on the Bible,
So how many percent? How many percent of the book is
of the book?
done? Yeah.
I would say I'm like 45%, because I've completed part 1. Probably I need to touch up on the characters, and I've sort of done part 3 because it's easy. I think working on this memoir doesn't mean I have to work like how in a sequence, because it's more of referring back to certain events. So part 2 is taking me some time, because I have to kind of check the facts on certain dates and certain things. So but I thought this is just a story that I wanted to share. I'm not too sure like how well it may be received, but it's just an idea of sharing his story in this format.
That is also an interesting way of pairing your skills, your drawing and your writing, to put together a book about a family member. And I also see that from what we've talked about, family means a lot to you. It has a lot of there's a lot of family togetherness and all that in all the things that you've written about, even from the time you wrote your first book about Ethan.
Okay.
Yeah,
I guess so. So I think one of the things is just choose a topic that you're happy or comfortable or passionate about. I think when it comes to writing or comics, I mean, it doesn't have to be family for everyone, or food. There's so many other topics out there, but I think as long as we are passionate about it, I think that's where the story will be able to come up naturally, I guess.
So I see that very strongly, the family, the food, of course, because Malaysians being Malaysians, we love our food, and conversations about food is often very, very how should I say, very exciting, right? Like where to eat, what to eat, when to eat. Right. So that is very Malaysian. I must say that. Okay, let's look at some of the responses that came in. Hello, Auntie Rebecca from Catherine.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Catherine.
Okay. Then there's Yvonne who says, Rebecca, one day please draw our 41, soon 42 years of friendship. Invite us to see NY lunch in your comic. Well, that's a good one. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Is that going to be a challenge to draw so many?
Yeah, that's right. And then I have everyone complaining, oh, I don't look like that. Why did you draw me like that?
You have to draw everyone slimmer than they actually are.
Yeah, it's just like I can only draw certain characters well. Like I have difficulty drawing myself and my brother.
No, you don't draw yourself or your brother. You ask someone else to draw you and your brother. So we have had a very interesting conversation about what you do as a mother, what you do. Actually, not so much about you as a mother. It's more like your writing and your comic, and how you actually started. And it was a progression from way back when Ethan was 10, 11.
Yeah, 10. Yeah.
So it's not something that came out, like I said, like not something that sprouted overnight. Like this year, you decided to be a webcomic artist, right?
Yeah, but I guess this year with the pandemic, I mean, it kind of reignited this writing passion. And made me like rethink a bit about getting my stories like done instead of just sitting on them for another year or two. So, and I'm also hoping like when I put it up on the web, like so that it will motivate me to actually complete it. And at least I have my friends out there asking, oh, when is this getting done?
Lillian Lillian Young says, my son loves visual stories. So yeah, keep it up.
Oh,
We're looking
wow,
forward to your
thanks.
publishing. Yeah, you see, you already have your readers and your fans even before you publish. See, that's the thing. We were just talking about this before we got on live, is that every time you want to do something, if you announce it to the world, at least to your close friends or family, they keep you accountable.
Yeah.
They keep asking about the progress of your work or your project. So there's no way you're gonna say, never mind, I procrastinate. Today I take a break. I'm not gonna think about it for the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So it keeps you on your toes. And I think the one thing that you put it out there, like your comic updates every Wednesday, gives you also that momentum to I have to produce, right? Otherwise there's nothing to update.
Yeah, because my daughter was panicking when I first put it. I was like, "Do you have comics?" And I said, "Yes." Yeah, because I don't work on them like a weekly basis. I normally have them like in stock, a few weeks ahead, so I don't get too stressed out. Just in case, like I can't think of what to draw, and then Wednesday be like, "Oops, there's nothing here."
Well, what about the bonus comics? Are those the one thought about much earlier? You already had this idea to do the bonus comic, or was this something that because of festive season you wanted to bring them up?
Yeah, I think because of a festive season and because of the social media. Because I think like during seasons like Dong, we all tend to send like greetings to each other, right? All the messages through WhatsApp or social media.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, that's like an important part, So yeah, I just want to capture those moments, yeah, and just introduce them. I mean that idea just came up, yeah. So I think working on social media and the website is kind of a bit different from just doing a book. Yeah.
You also get very live interaction, right? Like people comment, people
Yes.
say things that you probably never. Oh, why didn't you like just now? Somebody was mentioning about draw us during Chinese New Year or something like that.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
right.
actually is an idea, right? Yeah, maybe I should draw some of my friends. You lah, not me lah. I don't draw. I just write.
Yeah,
So
when my skills are better. Yeah.
Well, we are coming up to the last 3 minutes. So for those of you who are watching, you want to ask Rebecca a question. All of them, I did ask them. Anyone has any questions? They're all kind of like, don't know what question to ask. They're all leaving comments. So this is your chance to ask her. Maybe you want to dig into her process. But we talked about your process also just now.
Yeah.
We talked about how you actually draw your comics and all that. And my final question to you is what's in the future for RebeccaLoke.com, for RoundTable, for yourself?
For myself, okay. I don't. I think at the moment, I just hope I can sustain these comics, yeah, and finish up the memoir for now. Yeah, I think just keep it simple first. 2 goals, yeah. And if the response are good, then it'd be great. Who knows? Maybe can do some merchandising. Yeah, that could be an idea. But I'm not sure if anyone out there wants to like wear T-shirts of RoundTable.
Why not? I mean, it resonates with them. I mean, it's a very Asian family, and it revolves around food and family. I mean, it's always funny.
Yeah, but I guess they might go for the food pictures lah. Yeah. Yeah, things
so
like
let me
that.
just pull up your website and your IG. So for those of you who want to follow her and read her comics every Wednesday, do visit her website or follow her Instagram. And now she also has her Facebook page. So go and follow her on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, you don't want to go to IG, you can still follow her on Facebook finally. Why finally? Yeah? What happened?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I've been procrastinating with this Facebook thing.
So, any last words? Any final takeaway for the people who are watching? Most of them are your friends. I do know this.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for all your support and your affirmations, and it's been really encouraging. Yeah. So thank you. Really appreciate, and for the time for taking the time to be with us today. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yvonne says,
Mm.
thanks for the morning. I'm glad. I'm glad because this is my final episode for the year because I'm taking a break. I've done 18 episodes.
Wow,
Oh,
yeah.
I've done 18 episodes. Oh my God. I need to take a break. So I told myself this is the final one before I come back in January. So for those of you who have just joined us, who found out about us either through Rebecca or through my own channel and all that, what we do is I also started this during the MCO because I wanted. It is also a challenge to myself because a lot of people think that okay, I want to do something, but what? So I challenged myself to go online in video and not just video, but live video. So
Wow.
whatever
Yeah.
you see, whether it's all those crazy stuff that happens, whether some technical stuff doesn't work, something weird happens. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's all live. There's no edit, there's no pause. It just happens live. But what we do is we try to bring interesting people into our sessions to talk about things related to business and marketing, entrepreneurship. So in your way, I feel that it is also good for people to see a little bit of an unusual creative business. I would say unusual. I would say creative business lah, but it's quite unusual that it's usually a mom who does
Oh,
this. Yeah. I mean, the younger generation, maybe the millennials, they'll all be doing this, right? I
yes,
know my
I
niece.
think they're much more savvy with this. Yeah.
Yeah. So the younger generation will be much more savvy with this. But I want to showcase that what about people who are maybe slightly older? Not to say that we're very old, lah, but slightly older. And also have, passions like this and want to later, maybe right now it's not so much a business, but you can, that's why I asked you, what's in the plan, like merchandising, Patreon, and all that,
Yeah.
that will come up in the future for you once your comics take off in a big, big way.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I have to convince that there are readers and there are people who want to actually read this before I go on to bigger ones. Yeah.
Okay, two final comments before we go off. James, for our pleasure. Keep it up, Rebecca.
Thanks,
Is it
James.
your fellow friend from Ipoh?
No,
KL?
he's not from Ipoh. Yeah.
He's not Singapore.
No, he's from KL. He's in KL now. Yeah.
And Alexandra, do you know Alexandra?
Okay. Oops, I'm not too sure.
She's the one who writes. She used to be a columnist for the Star.
Oh
Hi,
yes.
Alex.
Okay. Hi. Thank you.
So now, Alexandra is also very interesting. I should get her on sometime soon. She
Okay,
is
we
now
look forward
doing
next
a
year.
lot of cooking videos. So I must say a big hi and shout out. She's always listening because I think sometimes when she cooks or something, she puts it on. She treats it like a podcast. Like she listens to the conversations. So thanks, Alex. Wonderful conclusion to entertaining education series. So thank you. And Henry says, Henry is famous for Rebecca. Like, yes, Henry. Yes, for Rebecca. And of course, final one. Great job. Thank you. Thank you so much. And of course, if you enjoy this, please share, tag your friends, and let people know about this so that more and more people can join us on this kind of series where we unearth some interesting people and interesting things that they do. Okay.
All right.
So thank you so much, everyone, and find her on her website or her IG. So have a great Saturday and enjoy the rest of the month. It's almost end of the year already. So wishing everyone a very good holiday season. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rebecca.
And thanks to you too for this opportunity to just share about comics and writing. Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.